slouching us in.
slouching. What we want to know is
what do you look like sideways?
Is it like this? Or is it like this? Because if it's like this, you're not going to be able to breathe and you're going to be in a lot of discomfort. So we want you to be more like this.
So this is head position as well.
And the whole crunching thing.
Do you know, I do remember many years ago teaching this, and I did actually have a lady come back in great sort of surprise. She actually went home and looked at herself sideways in a mirror, and actually was like, oh my goodness, there was this whole revelation that went on.
Yeah.
In terms of then taking that sideways look, and that's what we're asking you to do now.
Yeah. So if you've got a mirror nearby, go and see.
Go and see what this is.
Whether you're crunched.
And many of you see me in class sort of like, you know, we do this whole forward head position. And once you've done this, it impacts breathing. So what we're going to actually talk to you, you're coming around now. So what we're actually talking to you today about, are you breathing and how do you breathe? And often people say, well, why do we need to learn to breathe? So it's that, but breathing can be changed. Your breathing patterns, even actually, goes right back to actually being in utero. And the women say that, you know, you have the natural, that the baby has this natural sort of movement. This is a really organic movement of this breathing all the time. This cycle happens even in womb. But if the mother has a shock and a trauma, that can actually then freeze that into a position. And actually saying sometimes at birth, you know, they used to smack babies, was that whole start reflex thing that used to go on.
Yeah.
So that reflex can happen at any point in time. That's sort of like, you know, whether an accident, shock, trauma, startle can actually then, or, you know, that,
or retreat
can actually change. And that then has this whole impact on your breath. So we're going to talk to you about how do you breathe and have you looked at your posture sideways and things that you can do. So we're going to go through some things you can do to help your breathing now. Some things like the reset breath if you have anxiety or asthma. The reset breath is really good, and a complete breath. So we were talking about sort of, I was interested, I don't call it the bumblebee breath, but what's the bumblebee breath?
Is very much for relaxation, and it's a low humming breath right at the base of your throat, and it's like a and it sort of sets up a little vibration. I can sense it in my chest and around my ears and neck, and it sets a nice. People will think you're bonkers, but never mind about that. It's very soothing in that sense. It's not the same as a reset breath or a complete breath, which can often be used to help, as you were saying, breathlessness, or got asthma, or you feel anxiety. The reset breath is very similar to what in yoga we call a complete breath, where you're exhaling right to the end of your breath, which will allow the compression of your diaphragm to come down, squeeze all the breath out. Breath then comes back in, big complete breath. You've expelled all the toxins. You can expel up to 70% of your toxins when you breathe out. So you can get rid of this breath that's created. I mean, breathing in your upper body creates a lot of stress up here. Chest breathing is really not good for you. So in order to deepen the breath and release the stresses and strains, it's getting that big out breath. And then the complete in-breath that fills the belly. And that is a really good way of releasing tension, stress, and resetting your breath if you've got short of breath for some reason as well.
A reset breath in terms of when we're working with it, with asthma as well, if you're having an anxiety panic attack, most people are familiar with taking the deep breath in and holding, which is useful, counting to 10 and then letting that go. But actually what works really well is to then breathe out and out and out and out and hold your out breath for as long as you are comfortable. What this does is it actually sort of sets this balance with your carbon dioxide and oxygen levels within your body. And also, to take it from a step further than that, those of you who've done a breathing workshop with me, is that once you then breathe out and out and out, and then hold the out breath, is to then maybe just take a walk and see if you can take 5 paces, 10 paces, and count the number of paces. What this also will do is stop your body having that panic reaction if you get asthma, so it calms that down, but it also balances that carbon dioxide oxygen levels in your body. So actually what happens is, it's not about sort of like just simply taking more oxygen into your body to get more oxygen to your muscles and your brain. But if the carbon dioxide levels go up into your bloodstream, it actually pushes what oxygen left is out into the muscles and into it. So you have to have this continual balance of having the carbon dioxide and the oxygen in your body. It's why, I mean, it's not quite along the same lines actually, but when I used to work as a lifeguard, when I used to do swimming teaching, that's why instead of when you do resuscitation, it's more effective to do mouth to mouth, because the carbon dioxide that goes on causes a trigger in your body to go and take the breath in, which is slightly different from actually what is in the levels in the blood. It's another thing as well in terms of pushing that oxygen out into your muscles, so it makes you have a more effective use of getting more oxygen into more energy. So there was also the steam clean breath. Do you remember the steam clean? So if you'd like to practice that one now, it's making a sound. If you keep that going for a few repetitions, sometimes you can get like a little bit of a sweet type of taste in your mouth. That's a good sign. But it's classed as the steam clean breath, and I really like it as a visualization to imagine your steam clean.
It's a great sound. It's a lung cleaning sound from Chinese medicine. Sound, which is really useful as well to get that in your mind, of like it's steam cleaning. And in terms of breathing, if we're not breathing correctly, oftentimes it'll be because we haven't got the posture to allow ourselves to breathe, and it's a bit of a circular situation. The poor posture can cause the poor breath, and the poor breath coming in is part of the poor posture, and the stresses that build up mean that the shoulders come up and become earrings, chest doesn't, you maybe chest breathing or collapsing the chest. So the posture that we have, that we're using all the time, whether you're on the phone or whatever you're doing, is also going to have a big influence on your breath and be influenced by your breath. It's a circular process, and your body forgets how to let go of stress and how to sit in a comfortable position. It literally has what's called sensory motor amnesia. So it literally forgets how to do it properly, which is why if you look from the side and you think, oh my goodness, that's not looking like I'm breathing very well, it's something that gradually your body, you can train it to get back to knowing how to stand, how to sit, how to breathe. In terms of your posture, and the whole thing becomes a little bit easier, and the stress will be released. So we all hold it. We hold it in our body, and if we can breathe properly, stand and sit properly, that's one way.
Well, one of the things that creates a great deal of tension and stress is not just simply the fact that people hold this tight, it is actually the forward head position that actually is then overstraining the muscles, which all this around, this neck strain is literally through the over forward. You can't see me, I'm not sideways.
This funky chicken,
that funky chicken, as I call it, is actually what causes a great deal of strain and sort of like stress in all these around here.
I do want to do that.
And then this upper rounding, and many of you will hear me talking about this. Once this goes, you lose the ability to be able to do this, to rotate and look sideways, because you've got your head forward. Try it now if you're at home now. Once your head's forwards, actually the ability to then turn sideways, or even if you're rounded here, becomes really restricted. So you're in a car driving.
I look like
so before
my
you
nan.
know it, you have to go. Exactly. That's what happens when this does it. It is a great, it is a sign of that good posture, literally, in terms of like looking older. It does actually give a telltale sign. It does age you. The minute you get this, it does really age you to have your this forward head position.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you're going to be working on all the
I'm specifically
neck and
working
shoulders,
on
aren't you?
stuck stress, and as in my overarching theme in all of my classes, this course is coming up, and I'm going to be working on it specifically neck and shoulders, because that's a place where we really notice a huge difference. And there's something like 18 muscles just across your neck and shoulders to deal with, and they're holding your head up, which is really heavy.
Do you remember the weight of that? Sometimes?
Yeah, it's about a stone. If you're sitting straight, you're standing straight, and your head is straight and held straight, it's about a stone. As soon as I start to tip it to about 48% like that, it gets to like 50 pounds. And as soon as I start looking down at my phone like that, my head's become 60 pounds weight on my shoulder muscles.
So the weight of the head is actually
the weight
increasing.
Of the head is now
the
60 pounds, and it's pulling.
Yeah.
So if I'm here, I'd need to bring the phone or get my posture so I'm here. So I'm working here rather than here. And otherwise, you're going to have your head being held by those muscles, all of the weight of it in the wrong place. And then when your shoulders by the end of the day are up here and you're like feeling like squished into a small place, that's part of the reason. It's this circular stress begets posture, begets stress, begets tension, begets posture, it just goes around in a circle. So if we can teach the muscles to relax and remember how to relax, which is the difference. If we work from the inside out, which we do here at Energy Body, working somatically from the inside out is the difference between just doing that. Write us down now. I sit down, learn that, because by the time I get to the end of the day, it's going to be back up here again, because my muscles don't understand what they need to do to come into the right places and stay in them and be relaxed. They've forgotten. So that's working from the inside out, why this stuff lasts and makes a difference over not just
well, it's
an
the difference
hour,
between it's not stretching somatic, it's not stretching,
Yeah.
it's actually going to deep release, which is a
Yeah.
completely different
it's
technique.
lengthening. Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
So, well, I learned, you know, I'm like with my numbers and like in sort of like interesting bits of facts. I found out something today that was the other week actually. In terms of the trachea, when you're breathing,
It's this
okay,
bit here.
it splits, yes, it goes down and it splits into two. And so obviously it's going to each lung.
Yeah.
And then it splits again, and it splits again, splits again, splits again. It splits 24 times.
Ooh.
That's what I like to. So imagine when you're breathing and you're going down 24 floors. So the next time you take a deep breath in, breathe in.
Going down.
And imagine you're going down.
Trachea.
24.
Sternum. Belly.
Ding.
Oh,
Okay.
Bing. I'm in the ground floor. That's great. I like that.
Yeah, so have a go.
I might have to use
that one. Okay. So thank you very much. That was our little bit of are you breathing and how
what
do you breathe
look like
and what do you look like
sideways.
sideways. So see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.